your MC for this evening, and it's a pleasure to be with you tonight, albeit in virtual space. Many of you I know have been with us before. This is a weekly insightful conversation where we invite you to engage with us on many spiritual topics. And what was very special for me, I loved Brother Eric, who is our master in technology. When we had our meditation, I loved the visual, if you will. It really helped me calm down, if you will, and the sounds of the water. I had a very busy day today. The mundane world, I was out there working and very, very busy. And interestingly enough, this week, and actually this month, we're going to be talking about being colored by spirituality. So that was a very good selection, Brother Eric. I really loved the colors, but I wanted to talk about being colored by spirituality because I had thought, when I had read today, it's the soothing tranquility of peace. That's the topic tonight. But the commentary said that visual light comprises a spectrum of colors. Souls are spiritual lights, and we've studied this, but they comprise a spectrum of spiritual qualities. And I thought about that this week as I was thinking about what we're going to be talking about. We have a wonderful speaker, who many of you know, Brother Ram. But I thought, if you were to put my soul up to a prism, what would you see? Would it be a beautiful rainbow of colors, which I hope that I would see? But this week I was wondering what it would look like if it would still be as colorful. This week in particular was more of a challenging week for me. I know, we're supposed to be on the path, and I am. Maybe it was less challenging than would have been 5 years ago. I've been in Gyan close to 6 years, so I'm still a newborn. Not a newborn, I'm a toddler. But it wasn't my world problems, but it were people around me. And I thought that perhaps there was a veneer of a little bit of soot getting onto my colors, that I wasn't in that wonderful space that I needed to be in to offer support to people. So today in particular, I doubled down on my spirituality just as an experiment. We're supposed to experiment and to see if it would make a difference. And I thought more about my ability to soul, my affiliation with the Supreme Soul. And lo and behold, the day was much better. There were still challenges, and particularly challenges that people around me were facing, but I was able to master it, I think, in a stronger way. So that's an experiment that I just wanted to tell you that it does work. It's my problem if it doesn't work. That means I'm not putting in the effort in. And today, as in particular, I put in more effort and it did work. So just wanted to put it out there. I thought it was interesting because we're talking about color, the color of spirituality. But today we have a master that's going to speak about it, not me, luckily. And that is Ram Singhal, who many of you have had the pleasure of hearing. Ram is a professional civil engineer and owns an engineering consulting firm in New York. He was born in India and came to the United States in 1977. He has been practicing Raja meditation. Wow. What is that? If I'm almost 6 years, so that's like 8 times as much, 48 years. Well, there's something to aspire to. And I do want to add one more thing about Ra. He believes in spirituality. It's dynamic and a higher form of science. I love that. A higher form of science that is applicable in a day-to-day life. And I've thought about that too, that science is spirituality trying to come up with the answer. It's the flip side of it. So I love that. And maybe you could touch on that because you are an engineer, but, and we have talked about science. And here's the thing, Ram was on the 64th floor of the World Trade Center, as many of you know, on September 11th. And that was when the plane hit the Twin Towers. And he came out of the building just 5 minutes before it collapsed. but he had a unique positive experience because he was trying to help others and was not thinking of himself. And he uses the term, he put even in the stairwell, the people in front of him, which is something we talk about, putting people in front of you. He did not experience fear, anger, or helplessness. Rather, he was able to assist people. And that kind of ties into what I was saying, that if you are not focused on the pain of others and what's going around you and focus what's inside of you, you are able to assist people and your colors really come out. Like that prism I was talking about won't have that veneer of soot. And I actually can imagine myself like a windshield. Sometimes I have a dirtier windshield than others. He shares his thoughts on how meditation and positive attitude, faith in a higher being, and the love for people and nature help in times of crises. Currently, Ram is coordinating a global campaign, and we've heard about this, 7 billion acts of goodness. Ram has traveled to more than 800 cities, wow, in 19 countries and has delivered more than 4,000 presentations on the program, so 4,001 today. I just want to add one more thing about color. And I don't know if you remember this, Ram, but many years, well, not many years ago, actually, in the scheme of world, it wasn't that long ago, but probably before I was doing the hosting and I was just an attendee, and you too could be a host, everyone out there, when I was just an attendee, and this had to be a good 5 years ago, you had given a presentation in Global Harmony House, and you sat in the front. And the weirdest thing, because I don't get, what's the word? I don't see visions. I do not. I do hear things, in my heart, but I don't see visions. Do you remember what I said to you? That you had an aura. Your words were so beautiful and so inspiring that when I looked at you and I kept turning away because you had an aura around you, and like a yellow-orange aura around your outline. And I'll never forget that. So you are colored with the light of your spirituality. And I'm always looking for it. Unfortunately, tonight, because we're on Zoom, I'm not so sure, but I'm going to be looking for it. But it is there. So everyone, welcome, Ram, Brother Ram. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm really looking forward to this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for all the things you share. Even it makes me question myself. Am I really up to the task? When you share the things about, like as you had mentioned, that being an engineer and dynamics, the science, I have taken the spirituality right from the beginning in that light. So for me, everything has to do with how I am able to apply it. Like even in the engineering profession, there are two particular things which we do. One is to simplify things. Things could be very complicated, like even in the engineering terms, like formulas, plans, and so complicated. But the end users are no technical people. To them, we only share them. Oh, this is your bedroom. How big it is, 15 by 20? They say, what is 15 by 20? We take them in a room which is similar to that room. This is going to be the size of your room. Oh, okay, that's the size. I like it. So in other words, simplify the things so that people can understand. And the second thing is the application. That whatever resources we have, like even when we talk about the science is a basic understanding of the things which we have, which are around and how they function. We have the theory behind, but technology is when I apply that science, applied science. So my life of spirituality has been in this kind of thinking, that something to do with it. So one is that I understand something, But when I start to use that understanding in my action, in my day to day dealing with the people, then the knowledge which I am getting, that how things work, I am able to apply in dealing with the people and the situation and the tasks. That becomes wisdom. So applied knowledge becomes the wisdom. Wisdom is which is utilized. What that means is wisdom is how to use this particular understanding at what time and in what form, in in front of the what person. So time and space, everything, I see that this is the right moment, right way, and the delivery also have to be appropriate. Then it becomes effective. And the same thing when I thought of that we do meditation, we have the tranquility of. For me, when I think of the colors, like even the holy, what we are celebrating, yesterday was actually the day. Back home, not only in India, wherever the eastern kind of, some of the countries where Indian people are there, they celebrate in a big way. And some countries, it is such a festive kind of celebration. People really love to join anyway, even if they don't. It looks silly, but silly in a nice way, that this way, that because it brings everybody together. Like the day of Holi is one of the day in the year where does not matter how you are in fight with somebody, you are not on speaking terms. Even you could be very much your I will not use the word enemy, but basically the people around you, they are not enemies, but we are not getting along well. That is the day you go to that person, and that day they will not even the next day they may not talk to each other again, but that particular day they will talk to you, they will celebrate with you. So that day is a day of harmony in the relationships. And also when the Holi begins, many times we say, I am colored in the color of God's company, or a color of God's, we talk about spirituality, God's powers, God's virtues, God's abilities. So we talk about what we do. First of all, we put the colors amongst few of us, each other. So we get colored in those different colors. Then we start to go out, door to door, spreading that color, everybody. So that means first I color myself with those qualities of God or the colors of God, and then I start to spread it. Somewhere I was seeing something, they were talking about that the mortality and the immortality. Immortality is possible only when you are able to pass on the knowledge, or it becomes a expansion. Only when you can expand, one can turn into two. In other words, you pass on what you have inside, only then the life will go on. And in our case, when I start to share with other people, I start to receive it from the higher being, from God. So only if I have the peace and the tranquility, the love I have inside me, but if I am not using it, after a while, it might become even burden on me. I might even feel that kind of thinking that I got so much, but I don't know what to do with it. So it will get spoiled in that. So it might even become detrimental in many ways when we are not able to use our energy and abilities, what we have, unless we use them, it has no value. I remember 48 years ago, when I came, I had heard something that no matter how much knowledge you have, how many abilities you have, how much colors you have, the true colors within yourself, unless you use them, it has no value. There was one person who kept on studying, and he got 82 degrees, but he never worked. He kept on getting the degrees, no work, and then he died. Now, what is the value of those 82 degrees? Because person never used them. Same way, we have electricity in our house. Unless the fan comes on, light comes on, we are able to use that electricity. So electricity is energy. But when I use it, then it becomes power. They will say, what wattage? That's what they call watts. One amperage, voltage. You could see even amperage is something, the electrons and all that, they're moving, that the physical aspect of the power. And the voltage is the difference of altitude, like we have waterfalls from the top to bottom. So electricity also goes from the high voltage to low voltage. So when say 220 volts, that means 220 volts, 0 to 220. So that becomes 220.
Physics, Ram, you're losing me, but I'm trying to stay with you.
No, but what I'm trying to say, when we talk about our colors, like we receive the colors from God. And many times, even when we talk to people that, I want to see your true colors. So what it really means is true nature. It is that the truth about you. We can call it even when I see God's true colors, I see three particular things in my life. One is love, happiness, and peace. When you were talking about the spectrum, even though we can say there are rainbow, 7 colors, etc., but there are primary 3 colors. Some or another, I find those 3 colors of God. Then now we could see in the computer age, they can make even millions of colors with those things. Same way, those basic abilities we can call, you were using the word abilities, or the nature, or that's what you're made of. That's what you're made of. So automatically, when those colors are inside you, and then you are spreading it. In other words, they are coming from inside out. So in other words, somehow I feel that the connection of God is when we say, I got the color of God's company, the soul gets connected with the supreme soul, God. So that means I start to receive that love and the happiness and peace. And when I have it from the soul, it goes into my entire body. That means those colors the body start to get the life from the love, peace, and happiness. So for me, that is the life itself. Like we know that when person dies, we say soul leaves the body, then the body becomes, just like no value, and we bury the body or we cremate the body. So the question is the way our body functions and the way soul functions. So in this thing which I am looking at, the soul has its colors. So color means the abilities, the characteristics of the soul. Then it starts to go into my body. Like we have blood. Blood runs in our every vein of the body. Wherever there is no blood, that portion of the body becomes, dead, become like a dark or something. So that each and every pore of my body has the blood. Now that is the physical life. Now, can I imagine that I come to know that if the soul's colors, three particular these qualities or the powers from the soul, it start to go into the body. Can I imagine that each and every pore of my body is getting that color of love? In other words, every pore of my body has love in it, peace in it, and happiness in it. And now spreading that love, peace, and happiness, that means because with the company of God, I keep on getting the color. I am getting filled with God's powers. But then through my body, from soul to body, and from the body, it starts to spread out. Can we imagine that? For example, like this is how I see. That means when the love is coming out, you touch anything. Can you feel I am touching this thing? Love is getting, love is touching that thing. So I am transmitting my love through my touch. I touch water, I touch a pot, I'm cooking food. Any little thing, I can keep adding that love in that food. I can keep adding the happiness in that food. And also, calmness. See, tranquility is, when you are really enjoying yourself, you are so comfortable with your own self. For me, that is tranquility, combination of all these things. You're enjoying yourself, you're feeling very comfortable, calm, and all that. Like today, I made pizza at Peace Village. Now, we are only 13 people here. 13 people had about 7 variety of pizza. Everybody has their own taste. And I went over there. I said, I am going to fill everybody with their joy, with their choice, whatever they want. I made enough. And I say, anybody wants to have something, I was like, you can call it tranquil, but I feel it was a dynamic tranquility because it was spreading that love and joy. 5, 6 people came and joined me and started doing things and all that. I could see the atmosphere filled with so much joy. I really saw it's not the people are looking for pizza, but it is the company of each other, the harmony. So that was my today example that I really felt there is a possibility I can bring out that love, bring out that joy, bring out that peace in whatever I am doing, whatever I am touching. Even when I'm cutting the bread, even when I am doing any little thing, as if the love is getting injected in each and everything. Is it possible? Now you could call it, Ram, you are just, it's difficult to relate to you. Sometimes I feel that it will be a little bit too much of a stretch. But I want to stretch even further. Can you imagine, like we have sweat come out of our body and it has a smell. Is there a possibility that the fragrance of love and joy and peace can come out of our body and getting spread? Can I feel that way? If we talk about the sweat can come out of the body, why not the love and joy coming out of my body and spreading? So that means wherever I am going, I am spreading this love and joy and peace. So it is like spreading the color of God's virtues and qualities. So can you imagine you're walking and the love, peace, and happiness is spreading out? Like, many times we have that when we have the colors, we have that little bit of fountain type of thing. We press it, the water goes far and wide, and the most powerful it is, the more spread it does. The color gets spread. Sometimes even somebody can do it 100 yards or something like that. Now, question is, now that is the physical aspect of this thing. Before it used to be only 10, 15 feet. Now they say it can go up to 100 meters or something. Can it go even further? That is where when we think of looking at because when the light goes with the speed of, we know the speed of the light, there's 186,000 miles per second. And that is a physical aspect of our existence. And the soul energy of love is even more powerful than that. So that means I can color the whole world with my love, peace, and happiness. So that means when I am driving my car, like I am going on the 87, I come from New York to Peace Village. Many times I feel when I'm driving the car through, the love, peace, and happiness is getting spread all around. And little by little, I have started calling it Peace Highway or Happiness Highway, because I'm spreading the love and the happiness. I don't get tired, honestly. And if I get stuck in the traffic, I'll say, oh, maybe this place needs more love and happiness. That is why it has been slowed down. So here they will have a concentrated love and happiness. Somebody is going after me from behind, coming close. I will say, oh, maybe that person got attracted to my love and happiness. They got attracted. I mean, I am able to change my way of thinking just because I am thinking, how can I spread that love and happiness? So this is how I find my engineering when I talk about is the applied. The color I'm also applying, because only not on the colors, but they have an impact. Like you are wearing the yellow scarf. So that has a color. It has a beauty. It has some value. Like somebody is wearing blue shirt. So that means we have a actual impact, even though many times people say it is all in our eyes. Some people don't distinguish between the colors. For them, it doesn't matter, Like I know, like somehow I never get into, when we are doing a house, people have so much into what color and all that. I give them, you choose the color. We will do the paint, but you choose the color, So the point I am trying to bring it up, that in the time of this, so we talk about Holi, like the colors of our company, but making it dynamic. In other words, that spirituality is not static. It is not just keeping it just to my own self, but it is a matter of spreading out. And spreading out is only when I perform actions with it, when I use it. So the applied yoga is elevated actions. So that means, many times I tell people might sometimes laugh at me, but I share with them that in the early days, my very first thing which I started to do was dishes. But now I could relate to that. That means when I am touching this water, it's a little bit too much a stretch, but I want to really bring it up. You might laugh at me, but I want to bring, because that's where I felt that the amount of water I keep touching, more and more water I'm touching, I am playing with it. So I am filling that water with love and joy and peace. Then it will go into the drain. it will spread that love. That will go into the bigger drain, then it will go into the river, and finally it will reach to the ocean. So that means my action in my kitchen, with the simplest of an action, I could be spreading that love and happiness in the entire, world, to the up to the ocean. Can we imagine those kind of things? So I just want to bring those things, like think uh, big, not only big, but coming out of our limits, breaking out of our limits. Like example I give you, because physical examples exist. You throw a pebble in a lake or in a pond, it will create that wave. That wave will not break until it reaches the shore, until it reaches to the end of it. So that means anything I do, any action I perform, even my thoughts, it will reach to the end of the universe. That is why people say butterfly effect. That when butterfly, does the wings like that, and so the whole universe feels it. So I am. It might look a little bit philosophical, but somehow or another, I think we can feel it that way. So that way, my colors, like we play the holy with the water. It goes only a short distance, but we see the rainbow. Now, rainbow is only, after the rain, somehow the clouds and those things, they make it in such a way, some droplets and all kind of thing, they create that beauty, color. Now, we can call it even, yeah, they just seem to us like they were only droplets actually. But the way they are connected with time and space, it brings beauty of the rainbow. So bringing rainbow in our life, that means every action I perform, I can create that rainbow. I can create that joy. Today, I really, I was surprised even that how happy we were all feeling. Just doing the little thing, just cooking food. I say, and I know people are not, food is not the big thing really. But it is the feelings everybody get. Oh, we are together. So this celebration of Holi is like that. Maybe you will all do it on Sunday too, I believe, because in the USA we all do everything on a weekend most of the time, even though the days are different, but we celebrate on that day. So it is like covering myself with the colors of God's company, of love, joy, and peace, and then spreading it out far and wide. Even though you might be playing just with a few of you amongst yourselves, but think you're playing with the whole world through your mind, intellect, like. So that is where I find that, whenever after 48 years, many times people will say that what you had been doing for the last 48 years. One thing I have always done is taking a small thing and keep on expanding. And that is where they say that, oh, there was a light, there was only point, and then there was explosion. And then the explosion, the universe kept on expanding and expanding and expanding. Can I do the same thing with our tranquility, with our love, with our joy, with our happiness? It keeps on spreading, keep on spreading. It is not you are spreading it, but it is spreading by itself. In the sun does not give light and heat to us, but sun just keep on having those explosion internally. Explosion, they say, equal to millions of hydrogen bombs. It keeps on exploding, and the heat and light gets generated. It keeps on going on and on and on, and we receive it according our distance. Is like, this is how we say that even the nature is made in such a way that the sun is only the distance what is appropriate distance the sun is from us. Even if we go maybe 50 miles less distance, maybe it will create a chaos. So that means the balancing of those things, appropriate of that thing, appropriate in time and space. The droplets in the right moment. You don't see the rainbow all the time. You see the rainbow only once in a while. So there had to be combination of many things together. It brings the beauty. So same way, once our thought is to bring the joy in the world, then somehow other things also start to play the role in your life. So many things come together and make the things happen to us. We have that experience. Sometimes the best of our experience of life or even attainments, they came from nowhere. And we thought they were by chance. They were not by chance. They were planned. They were depending on what kind of karmas you did, how you spread your love and joy, what was your aim to your life, that what is there. Like today in the morning, somebody was asking me, or I started sharing. I said, look back into our life, think that what really makes me happy. I say many times we might pay a lot of money or the position or the facilities, but you look back, anything you have, money, position, facilities, you get used to of it after some time. They are not giving you joy anymore because they are daily basis. After a while, it becomes so normal. Sometimes you even start to see the burden of that kind of position. Why people say it's lonely at the top? People think, oh, look, that person is such a high position and that person is living life of misery because they cannot even share their even their problem with anybody because they are at the top. Who will they share with? So, because someone or other, my experience had been, because I am back from India, I came to America and being engineer and also doing small things in my culture, that culture, this culture. So when I really combined all those things, that ultimately I found that actually what made me really happy only when I was able to give happiness to others. Only when I was able to be useful somebody. That brought joy in me. That even when we talk about the science of happiness, that means spreading is that when I am able to give. Now, people think that we are living in the world, everybody wants to take, take, take. But the taking does not bring joy in us. Anytime you are able to give something to love or care or forgiveness or anything you will do going out of your way, that means crossing your limit or breaking out of your limit, that brings joy in us. Life. So that means if the giving, the life continues only when giving and giving and giving happens, but giving cannot happen unless it is getting generated inside. So that means that is where I see the power of yoga, that I am, because the holy, that I'm using the word color of God's company. So that I am getting colored, but then I'm spreading those colors. in the whole world. And that happens not only physical actions, I take it even in a minutely. As soon as the spirituality or dimension of spirituality, soul comes in connection with the body, action begins. Because soul cannot think until there is body. So it can think only through the brain. So the feelings are there in the soul, the colors are there in the soul, but they start to come into action. They come into as soon as the body interacts with the body. So the soul interacts with the body. So that means when you're having a thought. Now you could see, as soon as you have a thought, your eyes change. Your face changes according to what you are thinking. It is true or not? The same eyes, when there's love, how you can see that love in the eyes? When there's anger, when somebody has bad eye on you, somebody wants to, show the any kind of colors they want to show, they can show from your eyes, from the eyes. And person may not even know, but you immediately come to know what person's intentions are. Why people say, I looked into that person's eyes. So now you could see, eyes changed based on anger or love or greed or anything, viciousness. People come to know about it. Same way, thinking of your mouth. The words coming out of your mouth. What is when we speak the words? It's only air and opening of the mouth. In whichever way, when I say A, when I say S, when I say F, when I say P, there are different kind of opening and closing, and the air passes accordingly. But when you are speaking and you're making somebody comfortable and happy, what happens? The mouth feels very happy that you used me to give joy to somebody. So that's why the mouth smiles. It uplifts you. It automatically goes up. And when you use the same mouth, speaking something which make people hurt, what happens? The mouth feels weak and sad. Nothing it can do. But because it has to do whatever you are thinking of, speaking, it will speak out, but it feels sad and weak. That's why it goes down. The gravity pulls it down. And we say, why you are making long face? Because it goes down. So now you could see our words are making a difference. And so I am not talking about even actions. So I am talking about even my thoughts. When you stand in front of the mirror and start to think something good about whether weather or people, your own self or surrounding, and you take the selfie, put it on automatic selfie, right? Automatic video, and then look at it afterwards. So when you are thinking positive and good about somebody, nobody knows about what you are thinking. And look at the selfie. You will be smiling at that time. And now start to think bad. Bad weather, bad situation, bad people, bad myself. And look at your face. It will be miserable. They call it like a dry prune, It will, all the wrinkles will start to show on our face here, on our here, everywhere. When I am thinking positive, it lights up the whole thing. Now you could see that when we talk about the thoughts, thoughts are spreading out. We have the love and the peace and happiness. The colors are there, but when I am thinking, when I'm speaking, when I'm performing actions, then that power, that's the voltage you can call it, you are giving out. So when you are giving and giving and giving that love and tranquility, then automatically you keep on receiving, you keep on giving, and you make the whole world filled with the color of God's qualities and love and happiness or tranquility, whatever you want to share. So I will stop over here. And I don't know that made sense to you in whatever way. Could you relate to it? And you can ask questions too. Like I hope you were connected with them, Michelle.
Yes. So I just want to ask our audience if they have any comments or questions, please put it in the chat and we'd love to share. I know I have some comments. First off, I have to say I love Peace with Pizza. I think that is underrated. I think there's some kind of branding or marketing that we could do to bring peace to the world with pizza. It's an alliteration that works. And I think you're onto something. So thank you for that. Another thing I wanted to say is I was on Route 87 last week and I was wondering what that was, because I drive on 87. I was in Albany all last week for work. And because that's the capital, I'm still working sometimes there. And I was wondering what that was. Were you on 87? Because things were going really swimmingly well. So it was you that made it so much better. And that's something I'm going to take to heart because I think you're right that you can focus and make that turn and keep pushing that energy out, that positive energy. That was wonderful. So, for the last 45 minutes, you have made literally a joyful noise. And I was smiling and I'm looking at some faces that are there that are smiling too, because I think you smile when you recognize it. In other words, if you recognize that and recognize it in yourself, and I'm looking at someone right now who is wearing a blue shirt, that she can recognize it in herself. And that's why she smiles, because you recognize those colors in you. And I love when you said 3 primary colors. And I agree with you. I think the 3 primary, if I remember, it's yellow, red, and blue. So I was actually writing some notes, love, happiness, and peace. And blue, my love is blue, and happiness is yellow, and peace can be red, maybe. So I was thinking about that. It's gonna give me a new way of thinking about it. And I love that you said spirituality is dynamic. And it only works. And one thing I had once heard, and you embody that, I was thinking to myself, just to be contrary, someone once said in one of the Thursday nights, well, what if that person is unhappy and miserable and they don't have a good family situation and their family never express love to them, and they're kind of like, as you said, they're almost like a prune inside, a sad, how can they surmount that? And I remember thinking, and I wondered how you can comment on this, that the heart is a muscle, and spiritually the heart, even if it's struggling, the more you give of your heart, the bigger it gets. It's the one thing that you can give and it grows fast back. That's the one organ that once you give it, it comes back. You never have to worry about giving your heart away because it'll always come back stronger and bigger. And that's one of the ways I was churning on that when people ask me, well, what about people that are very poor or unhappy? And that's something that I'm going to focus on. Can you comment on that about, your heart and people that feel sad? And you're a very upbeat, happy person, but there are people out there who are, for one reason or another. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of them in my life. I have a few. As someone told me, you're going to have 5 people in your life. I think it was a Thursday evening. I get a lot of wisdom, as you said, applied Applied knowledge is wisdom. I get a lot of wisdom on Thursday evenings. So everyone should keep coming back. But someone had said that, what would they know? I lost my train of thought, but that if you're very, very sad, how can you surmount that?
You know what I really feel? That whatever, see, sadness is basically lacking of happiness. So I cannot change the sadness, but I can only fill them with joy. And what happens is many times we think that we have to be 100% changing. Actually, we don't take that responsibility of taking 100% cure of that. But my even a subtle joy when I am, but it's sincere. Not that trying to, oh, I want to help that person. To me, as soon as you think you are trying to help other person, help stops. They close their heart to you. As soon as they will feel that you are trying to help them, because the dignity, people don't want to accept anything because that makes them feel weak. In a very subtle way, you are sharing just your experience of joy. And look at our own life. It is not that we always have the best of our mind and all that. Everything is in the best of our situation. Sometimes you might be feeling so miserable within your own self, but you see somebody else more miserable than you are. In your own little way, even in the time of misery, you start to console that person. That person will take so much from you. And in fact, you will also forget your own misery. It's true or not. Find somebody who is more trouble than you are in that way. So I give them advice that no matter how negative a person feeling at one time, there are people out in the world, they are much worse than that. Thinking of giving them some solace or comfort, their pain will disappear. Of course, not the 100%, but at least it will give you enough comfort. And once the process begins of comfort, then it starts, that seed grows into tree. So you just have to trigger the process. So with your little kind word sometimes, a little, subtle, a kind of feeling like of that joy coming out of you, you never know. It can trigger the process of changing them. Ultimately, they will find their way of being positive, but you only triggered it. Triggered a change or new way of thinking or something, put them into different trajectory or whichever way, or maybe take it this way. And all of a sudden, you can bring about the change, but not that because you cannot make people happy. Ultimately, happiness is going to come from within, but you can trigger that, person going inside and start the process. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think I love the idea of, I think one of the biggest problems that I see in the world today is people covet things. They have to own it. They have to, that insecurity of coveting things. And you gave a story, and I thought about Midas, who was the richest of all, and all the gold. And when you think of spiritual gold, what is the point if you have that gold if you don't share it, and you become desiccated and dry inside like a desert, as opposed to a rich blooming flowers? And you talked about that fragrance. I love that. I'm going to think about that, when I'm on the subway tomorrow. Am I going to give out that fragrance? And I try, and you know what? Sometimes I do some of the best meditations on the subway with my eyes open, thinking I'm an angel and I'm sending love to people. So I'm going to try that scented version of meditation tomorrow. If I'm going to be on the subway, I'm going to send out a fragrance of love. I love that. So I'm going to use that too. I thought that was, I don't want to be a Midas and hold it in. I do want to release that. And I hope others feel the same way. Okay, Jane. Yes, she says your enthusiasm, it's true, is so beautifully contagious and it comes shining through. So it's true, Ram. Let me ask you one question before we close, because in a few minutes we have to have you, we're going to do the meditation. I got to be honest with you. Do you ever have a bad day? Because I do, even now.
I think every day is a bad day. When you really think of, like, when I say bad day, means, say, who wants to work? Who wants to work hard? Nobody, right? The tasks are in front of me. Like when I got up in the morning, oh, today I have to make bread. I have to read, this Murli, and I have to do. So I had so many things lined up. But then, like I find that's where the beauty of our life is. You start to get onto something. Let me do one thing at a time. Let me start this thing. And I find you start the process little by little, everything, because the joy you experience. Oh, yes, I have started it. Now, once I have started it, I know that it's going to get done. So I am able to see the end result. I don't see the obstacles in the middle. I call them as a part of the process. So I am able to see over the hump and see the what it will be when it will be done. So I was able to see the smile on people's faces before they actually were smiling. So that is how you can change. Same way people say, oh, do you, Ram, ever have fear? I say, I am having constant fear in my life, because fear is something, why the fear come? Something above and beyond your ability. The fear of not to be able to do it, the fear of failure, fear of short change, fear of the people feeling disappointed in you. So many fears we see everyday basis, but I find you take them head on. Keep going through the fear, like going through the storm. But whilst you are moving through the storm, your muscles keep on becoming stronger and stronger. And when you come out of that storm, wow, see that? See, if you were not in the storm, you will not enjoy when you come out of the storm either. So take the life into that process of enjoying myself ultimately. So that's how I look at, when you say bad day, it is a matter of how you perceive it, your bad moment, but how long it continues. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 5 hours. Ultimately, you have to come out one way or another, right? Every day is not a bad day, right? So we all come out of the bad day,
Right.
bad situation, but how much time do I want to spend? So one thing I have learned, you have also seen, the more you let it go further and further, it becomes bad, becomes worse and worse and worse. But I can start the other way around too. Bad turning into good, 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 and good. 1% good, 2% good. That's how I look at it in my life.
Right. Well, as an engineer, I know that you scaffold on the good and you go and you keep building, building. And I believe that you build, build, build till you're in the sky.
Yes, great.
Thank you so much. This was really truly a gift today. It was always wonderful to be with you and to hear you, Ram. Ram, will you do a meditation with us and
Yes,
for us?
okay.
Thank you so much.
So let's all together celebrate this festival of getting colored of God's company. getting color of God's love, peace, happiness. I, the soul, separate from the body, bring out all the energy from the entire body and focus on the center of the forehead. And that's the nucleus of my energy, the soul. As I feel a point of light, I start to feel my own colors of love, peace, and happiness. And as I connect myself with the higher being, God, God with his true colors of unlimited love and joy, trigger a realization within my own self. God starts the process in myself, feeling that love and joy and happiness. And as it keeps on growing and growing, it keeps expanding from the soul into the body, from the forehead. It is spreading my arms, my legs, my back, every pore of this body keeps spreading. It is almost exploding, like a seed explodes and turns into a tree. And the tree goes against the gravity, going higher and higher. Same, I start to rise in my joy, the love and peace. And it start to go even out of my body and keep spreading. And I start to make a difference. More and more, I keep on going through this process of generating the power, the qualities of God in me. The more and more I am spreading, and my love, peace, happiness, reaching out far and wide, and ultimately reaching up to the end of the universe. And when I am able to make all the people around me, all the surroundings around me, filled with joy and happiness, then my happiness also becomes permanent because it is surrounded by love, peace, and happiness. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, and thank you, Ram. Thank you for that. It was just a beautiful experience to be with you, and you are making a difference in the world, be it on the Route 87 or in the kitchen or wherever you are. I know everyone felt that application, if you will, how to apply that knowledge, that wisdom in your daily life. You always never let us down. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Brother Eric. Welcome back. It's great to have you back. And next week, we continue with our Being Colored by Spirituality. And it is the charm and beauty of love. We're going to talk about charm and beauty of love. Talked about color. So we are going to be joined by none other than Sister Anjani, who is the director of Global Harmony House. And we will see you next week. And may your week be colored with love of the Supreme Being and color of holy. And I also love that you said that holy, that should be, if I was still in office, I would make that a holiday, because that's the day you have to forgive and forget, even if it's for a day. That should be either a national holiday, right? Or a state holiday where you let go of any grievance you have with the person. Or wow, if I was still in office, I would mandate that, because that is fantastic. And I'm going to create that holiday in my life. So thank you so much. And everyone, we will see you next week. And thank you, Brother Eric and Ram and everyone who joined us. Om Shanti. Have a good week.
Om Shanti, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you, Ram and Michelle. It's been a wonderful evening. Appreciate everybody coming, and see you next week. And may your life and days be full of color and happiness. Ram, thanks again. We'll see you around.
Thank you, Eric.